Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back to the channel, I hope you're all doing well. It's Monday, the Vigilia, the day before Lazio Juve, second leg of Coppa Italia semi-final, important game because it can give us access to a trophy, to a final, but for that we don't need to lose against Lazio. So important game, we'll speak about that, the press conference of Max Allegri that has been held this morning, and then a controversial take, or at least what has been said yesterday by SKYPORT that all the world is speaking about a special request from Max Allegri during the winter mercato that has not been fulfilled. And we need to speak about it because it's controversial. So let's see who's right, who's wrong, did he say it, yes or no. Let's discover everything together and then mercato in, mercato out with one name that will be painful to hear, that it could possibly leave Juventus. Maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are that close to 30,000 Juventini. Let's try to do it before the end of the season. I see you when you are watching the video and not subscribing. So a little push, a little boost. Let's do it all together as soon as possible. Now we start. Today can be a painful one. Today can be a night that will hurt. Because if Inter will beat Milan in the Derby della Madonnina, they will win their scudetto. So we'll try to organize live, depending how it goes. All together here, I prefer you being here in that community of Juventini, even if we have to talk bad about our beloved Juventus, but at least we are together than letting you there in the middle of the social network watching Interisti celebrating their scudetto. Now, honestly, even if it's a Juve channel, we have to say congratulations if they win this evening, because it's the scudetto that they totally deserve from match day 1 until match day, at the end, 38. Totally deserved, never been in doubt. There were some favorites. Inter was one of the favorite ones, especially because they reached the final of Champions League last season. There was Napoli, scudetto holder, Milan with a big mercato done with the money of Juve. We all know that story. And Juventus was there a bit to fight, or at least to try to fight until the end for doing something or trying something. Juventus that collapsed at the end of January, we all know, and we are still not out of that situation, why Inter has been super consistent. They are still consistent. If they win all their remaining game, they can win it with 101 points, which is really, really big. So congratulations to them if they win. Now, I know that you will watch a lot of television. I know that you will be on social media. CBS, Paramount, that's not who will tell you the reality of things. They will all speak about second star. They will all speak about 20th scudetto by Inter. Nobody will even question if it's really legit to speak about the 20th scudetto. Nobody will tell you. They will celebrate. They will have a lot of fun. They will put big pictures, big posters with 2 stars. I don't want to recreate, I don't want to rewrite, I don't want to go through again all of it about Calciopoli, but let me tell you something that is the reality. It's 19 scudetto if they win, but if it's not today, it's next week. 19 on the field and 1 in court. That scudetto that they received in court, they received it before the leaked phone calls were known to everyone. Inter phone calls with referees. That scudetto was given to Inter for what reason? Because it had been taken away from Juve, had been taken away from Milan, that was second. The third one in line was Inter, and they told us, you like it or you don't like it, there are no phone calls between Inter and referees. Years later, these phone calls that were there, not you like, you don't like, they were there. They leaked, but it was too late to reopen a court, a justice case, a process. It was too late. They asked to Inter, do you want to, if you have nothing to hide? They said, no, we love that scudetto. So it is what it is. Guys, this is the reality. Then we can go into detail or not. We made a lot of videos about it. This is the reality. So it will be 19 plus 1. I don't want to even start speaking about the fact that if Juve was still in Serie A and didn't have to give an Ibrahimovic, a Vieira, if Milan was competing with the equal point, etc., maybe they would not even win 4 in a row on the field. But that's a total different story. So let's speak about our beloved Juventus. But before speaking about Juve, pay attention because at 6:30 p.m. Italian time, there will be Roma-Bologna, a big game between Thiago Motta, that of course is in the side of Juventus, and De Rossi, that is the big surprise, replacing Mourinho, with a lot of Juventini that of course are saying, what if we did the same? Well, it's also important to understand if Roma, they can still compete for that Champions League spot, that 4th one or that 5th one, if Bologna will continue to put pressure for that 3rd spot that Juventus has at the moment. Will be an interesting game, a beautiful game, I believe. Now, pay attention. There is one thing that I want to mention about Thiago Motta that you know it since now nearly 2 years. I'm saying he's a great coach that I would one day love to have at Juve. When he spoke yesterday in press conference, he said, pay attention, we need to play tranquilly, relax, because the pressure is on the other ones. It's not the first time that I hear Thiago Motta pronouncing these words. We are obliged to win nothing. We are not obliged to go in Champions League. Everything that we are doing, it's a bonus. It's the other one that are having the pressure. The other one that need to play. Pay attention, Thiago, because when you will go to Juve, if you go to Juve, but you already know because he was part of big teams like Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Inter that won the treble back then, the pressure is on you. And then that technique of we don't have to prove anything, we just go for the bonus, will not work. So the strategy will need to change. Now, go to the press conference of Max Allegri. Were there a lot of interesting things? No, not that much. It was really funny to hear journalists that were insisting on one specific question, or at least they were trying with multiple questions that were the same to have an answer of Allegri. They wanted him to say that this cup, Coppa Italia, is the most important one of of his entire career, that the future of Max depends on that Coppa Italia. Look, a few examples. The first question was, is this Coppa Italia not the most important one ever? First time, then the second time. Can it change the future of some individuals, players, coaches, the importance of winning that Coppa Italia? We are only in the semi-final. Third time, yourself, Mancini and Eriksson, you have 4 Coppa Italia won each. Can this Coppa Italia be important in a season like this one? They were all going towards the same exact answer that they wanted from Max. They really wanted him to say, yes, it's the most important one. If we lose it, well, I totally deserve to be kicked out of the club, which is a total different discussion. Max Allegri, he didn't even answer this question. He said multiple times, it's an important trophy. When you are at Juve, you start to win a competition. If you don't do it, that means that you did not great. If you do it, that means that you did what you had to do. That's what he said. We must play to win. Again, I repeat. Then, it's a game that is different than the one as Cagliari, because Lazio, they will try to recuperate, of course, so they will be more open. It will be a different one. He didn't give any indication about who can start. We just know that Perin is the Coppa Italia goalkeeper. Except of that, we don't know even if it will be Chiesa or Yildiz. He spoke about Chiesa briefly, saying that Federico Chiesa, well, there was a question, and the question was turned into Federico Chiesa difficult moment recently, where he took the defense of Federico, saying, wait, pay attention, because I repeat, I want to defend him, because in the last few games, he was in every single important offensive attempt. It was always Chiesa giving an assist, that dribble across, taking that fall. So, protecting a Chiesa, and that's a good one, especially because a lot of time we are speaking about that not great relationship between the coach from Livorno and the player that is coming from Firenze. More than that, Kenan Yildiz, again, repeated how strong he was, about the qualities, etc., etc. But it's a process of growth, something that he has repeated many, many times. Also making that comparison with a Gleison Bremer, that is not the same player as last year. Of course, for Bremer, it's absolutely visible, the differences from last year to this year, the growth that he had on personal level, which he also said publicly. But Yildiz will need time to develop and to continue to develop himself, but the qualities are absolutely there for Kenan Yildiz, that the rumors are really insisting. Contract extension in 2028, plus the number 10, which will be a huge, big marketing stunt, yes, but also a big trust to the player that he is the number 10 of Juventus, and the number 10 of Juventus needs to deliver. There is no protection anymore, especially if Kenan Yildiz will play without Max Allegri. That protection that for a lot of people is overprotection, not giving him the minutes that he deserves, will not be there. So he will have only one mission, succeeding, because with the 10 from the start, he can only succeed, or otherwise it's a flop, unfortunately. We go towards the important, controversial topic of yesterday, because yesterday evening, yesterday night, also this morning, SKYPORT, they had a debate on Sunday evening where they always speak about football, and there were 2 tweets from Forza Juve that were explaining a bit. The first one was a bit shorter. Allegri has asked Giuntoli for a world-class midfielder in January to compete with Inter for the scudetto. And then later they gave a bit more explanation. Allegri told him, get me an international level midfielder. So from, of course, world class, it became international level midfielder. And you will see how we will compete with Inter. Giuntoli failed to deliver. Afterwards, negative results starts to come. Now, a lot of people will go towards the narrative. Max Allegri is looking for excuses. He's looking for excuses. He's speaking with his friends from Sky Sport Italia, telling them the information so that they can speak instead of Max, which could be even possible. That Max Allegri, because he's not speaking publicly, is trying to contact some people so that they share the message. Look, I give you an example. The entire first part of the season, I always told you, we are missing two big players that nobody is accountable for, at least not the club Juventus, not the coach Max Allegri. Two players that could have changed the midfield and probably even the season of Juventus, Paul Pogba, Nicolo Fagioli. For individual accountability, responsibility, Pogba for doping, Fagioli for gambling, we all know that story. And I always said I will always take it as an excuse for the first part of the season. I will always repeat you, if you miss two big players like that, it's a real big pity. And nobody can be responsible for, not the club, not the coach. In the winter, I told you, go back in the videos before January. I always told you, if in the winter we are not replacing these players, then it's on us. Juventus that was doing quite well until the winter mercato, we didn't replace them. We replaced one of them with Alcaraz, that is a second division player from England. We all know. I had a lot of hopes in him, like every player that is coming to Juve, a lot of hopes, even unknown players. You hope that they are doing well. You hope that they can contribute. Studying him a bit, you see that the guy has potential, he has qualities. But of course, coming from a second division club where he was not even starting all the games, doing the jump to a Juventus first team, it's not that we received a world-class player to replace or a Pogba or a Nicolo Fagioli. We didn't. Now, in the winter, I don't know if you remember, but we were speaking about Calvin Phillips. We were speaking about Højbjerg. And for both of them, we were speaking about, we are not sure that this is the player that we need today. Of course, they are not world-class players. Are there international level players? Yes, because they are playing with national team, because they have baggage, because they have experience, because they can bring something. But even there, we were not 100% satisfied with these names. They didn't arrive. There were even talks about anticipating the signing of Koopmeiners already in the winter, at least trying to. There were some rumors like that. Koopmeiners immediately in January, where I told you, I don't believe in it. Why should Atalanta do it? How is it possible that Atalanta would even accept when they are still playing in Europe, when they have a fourth spot back then to pursue, to try to qualify for the next Champions League? I said it's impossible. And at the end, it didn't happen. So what happened? We went for Alcaraz. Would it have meant that we would have won all the games, that we would have competed until the end? Probably not. Probably not. It's not because the midfielder, the world-class or international level midfielder didn't arrive that we didn't win, or that because he didn't arrive, that we started to collapse. That's not the reason. But it shows us a thing, these words, that Max Allegri, even if publicly, he was always saying, our mission is fourth spot, minimum. Our mission is fourth spot, minimum. Our mission is to qualify to Champions League, minimum. That he believed in that scudetto at a certain moment, that he wanted to try to push to go for that scudetto. And the company, not because they didn't want to, of course, but the company couldn't deliver because of money, because of probably some players that they tried to negotiate and it was impossible to, maybe a Koopmeiners and it was impossible to anticipate, maybe because they had some offers and it was too expensive and not sure if it's okay enough for a player to give him a long-term contract. We don't know. It didn't happen. And that's something that I have to blame in a way to the management, to the ex-management that put us in a situation that we are today, or probably in saying, you know what, we can't go for that scudetto. Maybe one player in only, if we invest a lot of money now, will not be enough to beat that Inter. At max, we will finish second, which we can do now without him, because that's what we are showing on the field, which we were wrong. And maybe the day Empoli, Inter defeat, knowing that there were no reinforcement, knowing that we didn't receive that gift of an extra midfielder, to really believe on we are all on the same page, we can go for it, we have that extra positivity, trust, power, strength, well, everything collapsed. And we are not defending the players here. We are not defending Allegri. We are not defending the management. We all collapsed, which should not have happened. It could have been that we gave up on the title. Could have been. But not the way that we are doing now, with the relegation way. And that has absolutely nothing to see with we received a midfielder, yes or no. And I believe that indeed the words of Sky Sport yesterday are not going towards that direction. We collapsed because he didn't arrive. No, the words of Sky Sport Italia are going towards we believed in it, but we couldn't. And when Giuntoli is repeating you every time on press conferences, the near future of Juventus will depend on qualifying to Champions League 1 and if we will be able to do some sales, yes or no. Well, believe me. Now, Alex Del Piero is describing perfectly the situation. What about Allegri? The things are visible. The people that need to decide, they will have to decide. The things are visible. There is no way on defending what the team is performing and who is responsible for the team. It is Max Allegri. It is visible for everyone. But on the other side, you can always go towards two narratives. The first one, we can say that the coach, he did what he could with what he had at disposal. On the other side, we can also say that he could have done a bit more. These are not the words of Beppe, or at least these are my words since ever, that you need to check from two sides, the 360 degree, but this time I'm repeating and I'm paraphrasing the words of Alessandro Del Piero. Depending how you see it. And I believe that both things are true. He could have done more, but he also tried to do the best that he could with what he had. Unfortunately, that's the reality, and that's why we will have to change a lot of things. And for people that told me, Beppe, because every time you see it in the comment section, Beppe, but Max Allegri, every time that he was asking for a player, he always received these players. But I don't know, this Mercato zero. If you go back on the 30th of June, I believe somewhere like that in the summer, where there were some big rumors about Max Allegri had requested 2 players. Lucas Vazquez from Real Madrid, how many times did we speak about it? And a lot of people were telling me, you're crazy, Beppe. Lucas Vazquez, overrated, old player, Finnish player. Did you watch yesterday's game against Barcelona? Did you watch El Clasico? But what are we speaking about? Of course, he's a fantastic player. It's not anymore the first class. It's not the best in the world. But at the moment, we can't offer ourselves the best in the world. But you tell me that the Lucas Vazquez would not have performed in this Juventus? And on top of that, the Pau Torres. Pau Torres that is great, that is strong, that could have immediately worked on that 4-man defense. Because that was the intention, has always been the intention, to go and play in a 4-man defense, which we were not able to. Because of Max Allegri, or because we didn't sign proper players to do it. So don't tell me he always received the players that he wanted, because it's not true. And now maybe for the next coach, we are working on it, because I like the names that we are hearing. Look, again, yesterday, a beautiful goal from Dorgu, Lecce, that beat Sassuolo 3-0. Dorgu is again on the radar. I was a bit worried because he disappeared. Not that he's my number 1 candidate, but he's a player that I really like. Dorgu. It's a player that I like, and I want to have there on the left side to go towards 4-man defense. A bit more innovative, a bit more attacking left back, a bit more modern way of playing in that 4-man defense. I like it. Speaking about Longe, he's back to the next gen to finish the season there. Yesterday, I watched the game. He missed a big one in the first half. He missed a big chance in the second half. Then that fantastic goal. The guy has quality, you know it. I have always been the sponsor of Joseph Nonge. Fantastic player, what can I tell you? It's a pity that for a reason or another he's not performing in the first team, and he couldn't take his chance because he received an entire season to be there and perform. He couldn't. Well, he's back in next gen where he's doing well, and thank you, because yesterday, thanks to his goal and his performance, we won 2-1. I told you about Mercato out. In the end of the video, we go towards Huijsen. Newcastle is really on it. £25 million, so €30 million for the 19-year-old boy. Just celebrated his 19th birthday, where Juventus is thinking about, with that cash will need to enter in a way or in another. Some sacrifices will be there, and Huijsen, I don't know if he will accept. Newcastle, I know that Dortmund is also on the player, but I don't, unfortunately, because he's a real player that I really believe in, but unfortunately, I think there will be sacrifices, and Solé and Huijsen could be the first one to move from that new Juventus. let's see. I believe in the voices. Let me know what you think about today's video. Continue to subscribe, continue to put a maximum of like. Thank you, Forza Juve.